Relatively. Well, no, I've had this camera for like a year, maybe more. Very crispy. So let's start this off. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I'll share the screen as well here. So we should be good like this. Um, Hope you're all doing well. It's what day is it? June 14th. It's Friday. Friday streams as per usual. And we got some news here pre-market, but I'll talk about mainly the trade plans as well for S&P and Nasdaq as the way goes. And as Friday comes along, right, pretty solid overnight session for myself and week. So I'll be trading very small today. We don't want to turn Fridays into the worst day. So that's very, very important for me. Now, let's look at some of this news so far. There's some news around GME and Roaring Kitty, right? Our favorite memer. So I'll put GME up here on the screen so we can just take a look at it and what's going on here as we talk about this a bit. And there's some news around Visa. And we'll talk about these markets and these all-time highs that have recently been traded. So the news surrounding GME and Keith Gill, known as Roaring Kitty, right? He appears to have sold his call options on GME while adding a pile of shares. So he now holds over 9 million shares, apparently, of the video game retailer, up from 5 million on Monday. And his cash position seems to have shrunk from $29.4 million to $6.3 million. That's some big money. GME postponed its annual meeting as its investors' website crashed multiple times on Thursday because of the heavy traffic. GameStop shares have been on a pretty nasty roller coaster over the past month and a bit here, it seems. And this was after Keith Gill's return to social media, reigniting interest in the meme stock while the company cashed out on the frenzy, raising over $3 billion, right? So we'll see how this thing shapes up. But a lot of when typically from in the past, right? In the past, when a lot of the volume comes into these like memes, GME, AMC, we've seen a decline in volume in the future. So if this thing starts like going crazy again, we might see the same thing on today's session to wrap up the week. But there's some other news around Visa, right? Visa and MasterCard. With a $30 billion settlement proposed by both companies is likely to be rejected by the federal judge in a major setback for the card networks in a long-running dispute over swipe fees. At a hearing, Judge Margot Brody said that she will likely not approve the settlement as it does not appear to provide sufficient relief. The judge plans to issue written decision in about a week. And in terms of the deal terms, under the landmark settlement, the companies agreed to reduce swipe fees for 3 years and cap the rates for 5 years, with the moves estimated to deliver at least $29.79 billion in savings. They also agreed to update network rules to allow merchants more choice in how they accept digital payments. The settlement aimed to resolve most claims in the near 20-year-long litigation by merchants over high fees charged for processing card payments. The card companies disagreed with the judge, with MasterCard and Visa calling the proposed settlement fair and appropriate. However, Christopher Jones, executive committee member of the Merchants Payments Coalition, argued that the settlement would have locked in cartel pricing, and the judge's statement was in support of the justice of merchants and customers. So credit card and debit card swipe fees, which have more than doubled over the past decade, are the biggest operating costs for most merchants after labor. Visa and MasterCard centrally set swipe fees charged by banks that issue cards under their brands, and the block transactions from being processed over other networks that charge lower fees. So so far, Visa's still maintained a decent bit of its upside. It's not printing all-time highs like the other markets. Visa's a pretty big constituent in the overall equity market. You can see they're gapping down slightly here pre-market before this news, but that's not necessarily the main news that we're looking at and that we're driving at this Friday session. We've had a lot more news leading into this. We've had CPI, PPI, Fed this week that have created more volatility and movement. And when we take a look at some of these equities, right, we've had some pretty interesting at the ask traders that traded on On the S&P right at that 17. That was a landmark key distribution low and a very decisive point for this upside momentum to continue. Now, one of the things is we're below that area right now, and they're actually holding it as resistance, rejecting these regions to kind of clean up this low volume auction that's been going on. And they've cleaned up a majority of it right down here into about 96 to 94 is the real cleanup of the auction. We traded about 98 here pre-market, and we got a nice little rally back into this region. So the bear side momentum, right? The case for the bear is to sustain the resistance at this 17 area and sell back into these lows. And then the bull case is legit above it. So you've got this very decisive pivot here on the S&P 500 on the day session. So we can get a very good understanding, right, where we want to play these things to the upside or downside. So for me, it's going to be a little harder to be, I guess, bearish above 17. And it's going to be a bit difficult to be bullish below that 17 until we see this 96, 94 area, the way I see this. So we'll see how this open shapes up. We're very close to that 17 pivotal area. So we need a little more information to allow prices to kind of make some kind of movement, and we can make a decision from there and take it very slow since it's Friday, a few trades and we're out of here. So we can look at NASDAQ as well to start this session. NASDAQ, we've had Broadcom earnings that helped it over the past few days. We've had Apple as well. That's been it was on a multi-day run to the upside. And right now we've created a very thick, large distribution into these highs. You can see right here, the bottom band sits somewhere around 490 to about 500. And we've got a decent little pivot area, the way I see it, around 560 region. If we can move back above, the top band sits around 955 into these highs. So if we start moving above this like 560, it's very similar to that 17 area where I could start looking for a bit more of that upside momentum on NASDAQ, right? Yesterday was very hard to short NASDAQ into these highs, but we managed to pick it out. So let's see if there's any bull side momentum on today's session, because NASDAQ, right, if it starts cratering below 490, we've got a lot of low volume auction to get filled here, right? Where we can really trickle down. It's doing a lot better than the S&P. It's holding its gains a lot better. So I want to be a little more cautious with the NASDAQ and just like buying it blindly coming into these areas. So one thing that I want to I guess exercise and really, really caution about today is going to be the overall patience and waiting for these key areas to get taken, right? On the S&P as well, if we move above this 17 area, I'm going to be targeting around that 30, and as well as our famed level that I've posted a lot on social media and in our free Discord, that 42.44 that's been just chef's kiss recently. So let's see how this thing shapes up. So far, we're still holding under the barrier, big barrier for these buyers right now. And we'll see how these guys want to execute the movement on today's session. So with that, right, we can put on Stephen Box. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Everyone that's joining us today, everyone in the room, and we'll put on Stephen. He can do some oil for us, and then we'll throw on Fatty to get some more insight on these equities, and we will wait until this market opens.
Good morning, Vic.
Morning, Stephen. How you doing?
I'm doing good. What are you up to today?
You know me, buying dips. Well, looking to at least.
At least you're consistent.
That's what it's all about.
All right. So if I share my screen up, it looks like it's, wait, we go. Okay, there we go. So oil market is up this morning, about 70 cents higher than we opened on yesterday. You can see that the pivot's sitting at 78.16. The R1 is up above that, just above the 78.60. We're above that. Trends are green. We've been running up since about 4:30 this morning, making higher highs and higher lows. So looks like long side is the right side. If you want to close your eyes and buy it, you go for it. What you really would like to see to do it with any kind of certainty is to get a break above this level here. What is it? Come on, man. The 79 upper teens, get a break above that, and then on the retrace back probably to this opening range high would be a higher probability long, because the market would be telling you that it wants to keep making higher highs and higher lows. So we'll watch it and trade it and let you know what's up. Victoria, back to you.
Just all right. So I was on mute there. Perfect. Pretty much wait and see. That's how it's gonna go. We got the plan. We want to make sure that we're trading said plan. Let me put on Fatty here if he's around. He's not around, so we have to wait. If you guys have any questions leading up into this would be the time to ask. And we'll wait for Fatty to come on board. There's subtitles on YouTube and they subtitle Fatty as like Fatty, like with double T.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. Needs more closet space. Yeah, honestly. So as we wait for Fatty to come around, we'll kind of just wait for these markets here. Friday, like there's some bullish sentiment leading into Fridays. I don't want to get crazy with it, but we just sneeze as well. Perfect. Let's see. So, warning learning. Is it that we can only see icebergs when they happen, namely large absorption or something anticipated? So, realistically, with icebergs, you can also see them on like the limit side of things, right? When they when there's like large orders, for example, if they're like limiting in, like let's say okay 170 here and it comes in, it fills it, they just like keep loading that. That's like most likely going to be an iceberg. I don't know. I don't really trade like with the anticipation of trying to find icebergs. I just may look for like the absorption. But I don't know. We still have some time to be open here. This is a chance for the Bears today, honestly. It's a good chance for these Bears to kind of like come in and try to sweep things around, go in and clean up some of these auctions. But like typically when we run into all-time highs and we create like distributions into those areas, like higher distributions, we kind of rotate, they pull back, pick up some better longs, and they continue the trajectory. It's just harder to maybe, it's harder for me to be too short aggressively if we can't enter distributions lower. So check a few different individual names as well. Bond's doing pretty good recently. Good question. How many milliseconds do I have my DOM set to? I've got it set to 3,500. Like 2,500 is good. Like 3,500 is fine as well. In terms of contracts, right? If we take a look at like the quote board, I'm still trading the M's, which is June, because like I just want to see more volume on the U's if I can turn. It's probably by the end of the day, they probably catch up to them, if not Monday. Like 300,000, 305,000 contracts trading the June, and then 140,000 trading the September's. Some distributions are smooth, some ledges are smooth, some ledges are sharp. This one right now is sharp. Which one am I paying more attention to? Give me an example of what a smooth one looks like so I can compare them, because I'm not that sure of exactly what you mean. Yeah, I'll be trading the SPOOs and the Nasdaq today. It's Friday. I generally just like switch over and trade some micros, not to like, if I've had a good week, I'm just gonna trade micros today, like a handful of micros. Had a pretty solid week, so I'm just trading MNQ and MES today. Still like something reasonable, probably like around 1 mini, but nothing too drastic. Don't want to accept too much risk. Fatty's still asleep at the wheel. Got about 10 minutes until this market opens. Okay, so in terms of smooth versus sharp ledges, are you talking about delta? Because I mainly talk about these like distributions here on like the larger scale volume profile. Like with delta, if they're like around 1,000, honestly, like I consider that a decent area. That's like a lower band threshold. With Nasdaq, yeah, I still watch it on the DOM. It does get a bit wild, but like once you start just like trying to pinpoint big areas, like if like delta builds up, excuse me, my god, if like big delta builds up on like Nasdaq DOMs and like massive traders come through, yeah, like hundreds coming in at the bid or at the offer, like those are areas I kind of lean towards. I trade Nasdaq a lot with like delta areas. What statistical measure do I look at when assessing my performance? Sharp, expectancy, win percentage. Also, seems like Sierra Stats Analyzer isn't great. Do you know another solution? That's a good question. I generally look at one of the main things that I care about is just like my percent profitability, honestly, and like my R to R. So like if my R to R is like above 2 and my percent profitability is sitting at like 60, 55. I like that. Other analyzers, you can export the Sierra chart into like journals. What was it called? Like Trader Viz or something is pretty solid. Yeah, you could also do it the caveman way and do it by hand on like Excel.
The caveman way, like scratch it into clay tablets or something?
Yeah, like scratch into Excel like on your monitor. More of an abacus man, thank you. What is my sharp? I have no idea. Having a sharp more than like 1 is pretty freaking hard, let alone 3. Fatty's still on Egypt time, doesn't know where he is.
Well, he started early. He doesn't usually get here until about now.
Yeah, I guess that's true as well. About 5 minutes until the market opens. Many a rotation at this region, these like 17s. Oh. Both NAS and S&P are kind of at a resistance right now. Oh, here's Fetty. Morning, everyone.
What's up, Vico? What's up, Trade Pros? What's up, Boxy?
Hey, buddy. How
What's
are
up,
you?
guys? I'm doing good. Ah, Yesterday we washed away a lot of that selling towards the end of the session after we bought them. Today we're opening back up against the resistance. I think we see a rally today. It will tell very quickly in the first 10 minutes. You know, if Nasdaq can clear between 60 and 70 to the upside, S&P can break above 17. We'll see a decent push up, then we'll try to get on the pullback. And yeah, we shall go from there. Friday tend to be a bit, let's see,
Friday by day.
Friday.
Few seconds here until the open. Market's trying to make a push. There's a market open. Let's see if they manage to actually hold a bid through these areas. It's not the fireworky open I was expecting. Use some time here. Opening right at a key area. I wait. Some big buyers that are trying to step in right now. But like expansion is kind of lulled. New Friday rule says Mike, don't touch the first 30 minutes. My win percentage is 15% of the first 30 minutes on Friday. Wow.
It's good. That's where keeping stats is helpful. Get to reflect and stuff like that, not just uh, Nasdaq's too choppy. Like I'm watching these markets here. It's just
Yeah.
uneventful open. Like kind of rotating between like 72 and 84 there. Not much going on.
Yeah, Mike, tell us what you do in the first 30 minutes so we do the opposite. 85% win rate. I kind of just want to unload and just like put some like limits to buy it into this area.
Yeah.
Into these like 17s, like maybe I waited too long. There's a little absorption into this 20 half on the spoos. Nasdaq holding 560 very well.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive delta there. I tried it too, it just didn't get filled. I waited to see a rotation and
And there's a
nothing.
rotation.
Yeah, it rotated up in the same place.
Exploded higher. Saddest open of all time. What the hell is this? Contract flip. Shit. $372,000 contracts traded on the M's, 177 on the U's. That was like starting to catch a bit. Yeah, TradingView rolled over like I swear, like on Monday. I'm just gonna cancel these orders. I don't think they're gonna come down there. I'm a little late on that. My god. Wait. Okay, now they start bidding. You bastards. My god. Got T, I guess. Room service indeed. And there goes the mist, the fill. Now I guess slow grind to the upside all day. At this point, I just have to wait. Like, decent buying that's shaping up on this. Nasdaq off to the races. My god. Like by the open.
There was a pullback, to be honest, on Nasdaq. It pulled back into 64, where you had like a lot of positive delta. Just too slow to react, I guess, on my
Yeah.
end. And, yeah. Or like the lack of wanting to react in the first couple of minutes made me
That's the thing. Like, I don't really usually get in like first 5 minutes. 26 is now trading. And they've built up some buying between 20 and 21 here on the spoos.
Nasdaq is at a key pivot between like those low 90s to 600. We held that region for the sell-off yesterday, and they're trying to get above.
I'm just waiting to see if this thing pulls back at all. Like, I'm watching around 580, 575 on Nas. Trading is locked. What a Friday.
Very uneventful.
I missed the opening trade like me. You're kind of just sitting out. But even yesterday, there was like slower movement in the first like 20-ish minutes of the session.
Yes. I might think to fade it, honestly, because like the way I see it, like here's resistance on Nasdaq, single print from the overnight, a lot of volume building up, and some selling trying to step in. But it's just like of the open, the right side was the upside, so it's better to wait for a pullback.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see if they pull it down a little more. Decent selling, trying to come in on the spoos right now. Gets rebid. And we have Michigan consumer sentiment at 10. That should be interesting. Finally, some kind of report. Spice things up a little. Yeah, CPI, PPI, Michigan is where it's at. Some at the bid traders coming in at this 23, trying to push lower. Nasdaq on new highs of session.
It held a little higher than I wanted it.
I know we didn't trade that 80.
Yeah, didn't touch
580.
80 at all.
That'd be some crazy news. Apple in the dirt then. Apple holding bid right now.
But upside continues, dips and rips.
Yeah, I feel like shit. I'm suppose am I gonna buy this high? Like, might have to.
That's
Huh. This is what it's about. Just waiting until something interesting comes along. Suppose barrier here into this 23. Nasdaq continues to press into new highs here. Like, geez. On Spoo's C2021, maybe we can pick it up.
And in 10 minutes of the hour, we'll be on the lookout for the next deluge of US data, this being the prelim University of Michigan data for June. Starting with the headline, that's expected at 72 from the prior 69.1. Meanwhile, current conditions, that's expected at 71 on the nose from the prior 69.6. And finally, the forward-looking expectation is expected at 70 from the prior 68.8. Alongside the headline metrics, we'll of course be on the lookout for the inflation metrics, where the 1 year ahead previously came in at 3.3%, and longer term 5 to 10 year last came in at 3%.
Yeah, at this rate, I'll be fading Nasdaq into like 9 or 6 and 60. Wowzers. I'm gonna start buying these spoos into this like 2021 area, see if I can get a fill. If I miss this, then like it's over for me. Might be over for me.
I can't put on board.
Alternatively, wait for the news. Have I heard of MSA? No, first time. Explain it to me. Oh. Might have to try this MSA business. Keep trying to fill higher and higher and higher. At the end of it, I'm just gonna end up buying the high. The apex preferred way. Yeah, news coming up too. Getting in before this news might electrocute me. The slowest freaking morning I've seen in a while. And big orders are trying to come in too. Nas maybe close to 600.
Add a vote here for Equinor, according to Reuters sources. It does suspend the sale of stake in UK North Sea Rosebank oil development ahead of UK elections. That's according to Reuters sources.
This cannot be reality. Oh, well done on that long. If you go along that Nas, jeez. Both of these, I'm like trying to pinpoint a good entry, and I'm getting shit all. They come within like a few ticks of the limits, and they just like flip them off and walk away. And now news just nukes right through the stuff.
Yeah, spreads everything up. You're still gonna leave those limits like that?
Gotta leave them, man.
Yeah, nice. Gunslinging. Love it.
There's some micros like.
And just a minute now until top of the hour. When you look out for the prelim University of Michigan data for June, I'm going over the expectations. The headline is expected at 72 from the prior 69.1. Current conditions expected at 71 from the prior 69.6. And forward-looking expectations at 70 from the prior 68.8. And of course, in this release, we're on the lookout for the one-year inflation expectations last at 3.3%. And longer term, 5 to 10 year last at 3%.
Ten seconds.
10 seconds.
Oh my god.
65.6 in the headline, 65.6, big miss. Conditions, 62.5, also a big miss, with expectations, 67.6,
I
also
don't
a
even know where those got
Looking
filled.
at inflation expectations, the 1 year ahead remains unchanged at 3.3%, while the 5 to 10 year does move higher to 3.1% from 3%. Just recapping that data again, the headline, they come in at 65.6%, well beneath the expected 72 and the price 69.1, and as such is outside the bottom end of the forecast range. Current conditions equal to 62.5 from 69.6 and beneath the expected at 71, and the forward-looking expectations 67.6 from the prior 68.8 and beneath the expected at 70. Submitters across the board there. While inflation expectations 1 year ahead remains unchanged at 3.3%, and the 5 to 10 year rises to 3.1% from the prior 3%.
I'm trying to get along into this area.
Try Nasdaq longs 2 into 16s.
Decent first reaction. Some big sellers trying to come in on this.
And just making you aware, limited reactions seen in wake of that prelim University of Michigan data, but we have seen just marginal weakness in US equity futures. But Fed pricing is more or less unchanged. It still remains at 51.5 basis points. That's priced in by year end.
These buyers, there's a little trouble here at this 20. They can bid through 21. I think we're pretty clear, but like 1,000 now coming in on this buy side. Jeez. So I'm getting a little suffocated there. I don't love that. There's that absorption to that 20 wasn't necessarily a friend of mine here. Market has reversed course here. The offers are starting to come in a little heavier. The buyer that got trapped into that 20 is a massive barrier here for this buy side. Maybe taken out on some of these. Okay, I'm out of all these. I took a loss on that long. These guys are starting to flip here. Back under the 17 of Nasdaq still trying to hold like some kind of a bid here, but with these spoos down back into this area, like I don't love that. I'd want to see them like hold some kind of a bid. Maybe I buy it again, but right now the buy side is just getting pushed aside here. Especially with like all these guys that came into that 20, not ideal. A lot of resistance forming now above. I'm gonna try my hand one more time into this area. Into these 15s. Understanding that it's not the best, but
and energy slash geopolitics, Russia's Kursk region governor Ukraine has shelled the Zudza town, which is the transshipping point for Russian gas transit to Europe via Ukraine.
you come into a barrier into these 20s, which you got to be very cautious of if they actually hold a bid here. Below a key level too, putting a bit more risk on this.
And a bit more from this headline. So Russia's Kursk region does not mention damage to gas infrastructure.
So I was getting a little trapped into this low.
Long Nasdaq too is just, yeah, as Vic was saying, it's kind of a little riskier.
It's a do or die bid from here, pretty much.
Ooh, nice jump on this.
Let's see if I can.
But don't get offered now. Come on, don't do that.
20 is a huge area on the spoos here. Like 18, 20, you can see all this like delta shaping up here. If they get offered, could be in mucho trouble. might be in mucho trouble.
Yeah, yeah. The way Nasdaq popped into like 28.32, got reoffered quickly. The way it popped in the first place was like an algo buy type of move. It was like just and then like gets reoffered like that. Yeah, definitely worrisome here. This might be the last long here.
That buy, like this DOM is not really shaping up too much on the buy side. Decent sell pressure trying to come in. Yeah, this is what I mean.
Nasdaq into 600s, 96.
They gotta take me out of those orders. Every time a buy comes in, it's getting stuffed. We're below that 17 as well on the spoos. I don't like them taking me out of that. Unlike a bunch of them.
So keep an eye on US equities at the moment, particularly the RTY at the moment, just approaching 2,000 to the downside, just around 4 points above the level at the moment. The underperformance today.
They hold it every time a buy comes in, they kind of get pushed aside.
Ah.
I know. I'm like, shit, do I just...
Yeah, I did it. I did it 06 on NQ.
It's tough below the 17 right now.
It is tough.
Like 300 trying to buy. I'm out of this. I do these two back-to-back losses. We're below that 17. Like it's not really that much of a buy for me. But I wanted to see if they wanted to reverse that that move from that news. But sell side, this Dom just flipped bearish here. Don't really have too much of a buy on this. Now I gotta wait. Nas sinking as well. Pretty heavy offers here. S&P and no man's land. Nas is still a bit more bullish here. Just wait at this point. Nas closer to like 570 could be interesting. Spoos at this point to like complete their auction lower. Let me see. Now some decent delta at that 590. I want to see how these guys want to react. I think there could be a little touch lower if they start reversing here, like Spoos in the middle of freaking nowhere. But you have this like huge barrier on Spoos 18 to 20, like massive orders came in there. Yeah, buyers coming back in. I'll limit into this. I don't mind this. It's under this area. I know. Using buy side press, Nasdaq holding 590. I haven't traded Nas today.
Long as a game, bro. Third time now is just yeah. Then they can't really push.
Oh my god. I'm missing fills on like decent trades and I'm just taking shit ones. I love Fridays. Decent buying into these lows. Like I think they settle down after that news. Start ripping this higher. Just can't fill on the ones that are actually solid. I think I'm taking too much time on them. I'm gonna just leave this like this. Because if we start bidding above that 2018 on the spoos here, you're gonna see a larger continuation.
Taking one off. We're on Nasdaq. Tried the long, guys, 3 times. The second and the third entry were around the same level. The 600 got stopped. Came, rotated above 600 again. Tried it again the third time. Tough, tough, because like the market puts you in a place of like you have to get stopped and make the decision right away to re-enter. So
Yeah, no,
uh,
I've had to buy it 3 times
keep
down myself.
keep buying. So,
Big barrier 1820 here. They keep adding to the 18 quarter. So there is actually holding out really well. This is a logical short into these regions. Really don't want to be flip-flopping. Expecting these guys to try a bit above this 18. Let's see. Like decent bid from the lows. That's what I mean. Son of a bitch.
as that keeps running.
Oh my god.
Come on.
You cannot make this up.
Market just loves stubborn people. It stops. Try it again.
You're just too slow to react on these, but like there's just like after that news, they settle it down, bid comes back in the market. Like I do want to get long. I'm gonna set these limits down here, see if they want to fill them.
Oh, well, more on Nasdaq. Running 2 lots. Oof. Just to put things in perspective, I was down 2 trades prior to that. So
Nasdaq into a key resistance, spoos as well with this like 20 barrier. It's a rejection from that 20. No, don't fill me on one. They're still holding that 20 barrier. You fly higher above this region. I only got fill on one. Yeah, I know. I haven't heard of MSA.
Oh God, torture. I just want to block Michael from texting.
Like this like sell pressure that came in, it was about like there was an anticipation that it dies out because like the current momentum is strong to the upside. There's decent bids, but the sell pressure came off that news. It was just a matter of like finding where it would stall out. This is the kind of day I'm having. I get filled on one lot. Well, yeah, if I'm taking stops on 10 and filling one, it doesn't really do anything. The momentum from the news pulled us lower, and like typically with these news events, the strength leading into it holds afterwards. So like if the news comes out and it's like you get this like larger dump, like there's a pretty good chance it just reverses the whole move with these like intermediate news type events. I was just early on those longs. Nasdaq into 650, that was shite. Well, it filled more than one.
Nasdaq coming down too hard too.
Yeah, Nasdaq's at the top of the distribution. It makes sense here. But if a real bull is present, that won't stop them.
French banking sector, Fitch affirms SocGen at A with a positive. And this does come in the context of the rout we've seen in the, particularly French banks, given the political turmoil in the region. And thus Fitch affirming SocGen at A minus positive outlook.
Now you got this 20 area on these spoos, which is a pain in the ass.
And according to reports, ECB officials see no cause for alarm over the French market turmoil. ECB officials said to see France situation as contained. So I'm going to just repeat that. ECB officials see no cause for alarm over the French market turmoil. And ECB officials said to see the French situation as contained.
Look at this 20. They've built up a lot of absorption here. They're just like really not letting prices want to run through it. Not the best sign for these buyers. Some ugly action here. It's pretty clear skies ahead above that 21-22, but as you see, it's mission freaking impossible to move it. I don't love this. Looking very touchy for these buyers.
On note for Meta, so Meta says that it will not launch Meta AI in Europe at the moment. That the move is due to requests from Irish privacy regulator to delay training its large language models using public content shared by adults on Facebook and Instagram. Meta says that this step backwards for European innovation, competition in AI development. And thus Meta says that it will not launch Meta AI in Europe at the moment.
Sellers keep reacting against these buyers. That stubborn 20 area on the spoos is just, it's gonna be the death of me today. These guys are just still holding out that area. That's just, it's just the way it is right now. I'm out of this. I think I might honestly tap out. I took 3 losses back to back. I'm on the wrong side of these moves right now. Not trading this well. I'm getting filled on like the bad trades, missing the good ones, and like they can't bid above that 20. I lose at that point.
Sellers retraced the whole move up into the 50 on Nasdaq, back into 605. Leave back too much on those last 2 runners.
I've been a little stubborn with these buyers here, but like they just keep rejecting at the top band of the distribution, which is like the most logical sell. This sell pressure is going on.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything on Nasdaq today. Just been focused on these spoos, but like
Haven't done anything on schools, just focusing on this, but the outcome is not good. 2 stops. The one trade was really good. The long 600. Just like left runners with the idea that we're gonna run above the IB at those initial balances. It's Friday and hasn't done that and give back. So just again, it's in a pivotal area for me around the 600, 605, but still side the way they came from 28 is like so evident. So just giving it a minute here, that might be a mistake because The good trades are quick today, it seems. Mm.
Yeah, I'm not fully trading what I should be here with these spoos because like they get trapped, they reoffer 20 several times. Like that's the better trade, honestly. These guys can't catch a bid above this 1720 area on the spoos. Like it's not looking very sexy for these longs. It's not looking very sexy. Yeah, like I think like the areas that I'm getting in are just like bad because like we offer pretty well under this like 18-20 area where you clustered like a lot of imbalance. So like realistically, it's very hard to be long below that area. And I'm just like looking for that expansion higher, which is like obviously not happening. Even that 20, like if I was just short into that 20 where these guys were getting nuked, this made the most sense. This thing might want to complete the auction all the way down to this like 96 area, 94 area on the spoos. Like there's just too big of a barrier at this 20 that's just beating me up. Not last just early exit, but I'm down on the day. Because I wasn't listening to the information that the market was providing me. That's the thing about having these pivots, like you want to stay true to them. Otherwise, like you see what happens.
Nasdaq back at the 70.
Yeah, the 570 is trading
Just
lines here. Large downside getting swept into these markets. $650 traded on this. Shit, that was a great area. I was gonna start taking a shot long on this NAS into that 580, 580, 575. Like if I lose a trade, I'm just gonna have to like sit back, wait a bit, and then like analyze it before I do anything else. And like even as I was getting in, I'm watching these guys at 20. I'm like, fuck, that's gonna be a late entry.
Trying the long here on Nasdaq. Last shot. It's if it's a big range because like right now off the open we bid into 650, which is a little bit outside of the IV, and we pull back into the 70, which is the area that has volume below the initial balance. If it is a big range, and this is where it should hold, if this breaks right here, then we're down trending. So I'm not gonna do the long anymore. This mad that I mismanaged one really good long at 600. I had 50 points and I kind of left it all out there.
It kind of sucks. But you're looking for like a crazy break.
Yeah, yes. Mm. Mhm.
Spoos too yesterday. Remember at the 10, someone got pretty trapped on the short there. Spoos beat my ass today, so I don't want to play games with them anymore. Here comes Naz. I might start taking some off into this like 600, 605.
Nice trade.
One of the big targets is 615 for me on Naz. Spoo's just bouncing off that stupid 10, 9, whatever it is.
should take it here. I'm being greedy today. That's not good. Like I didn't trim into the 50s when I should have, and I didn't take anything off on the Nasdaq so far. Not good trading.
Let's see. Maybe spoos break through this 20 and we get that move.
Yeah, I hope. But hope hasn't been paying very well today.
The hopium
It's
trade.
been, yeah. Buyers are real. We should hold here between 96, 92 and continue the upside on Nasdaq. Otherwise, I want to see it honestly all the way back to 70, but that can happen. So I have my stops where they are initially.
Yeah, like it's a struggle to get too much above this 600 on Nas right now. They're just like reloading the offer there.
I want to have like a hotkey that like takes one out on of the takes one out on Nasdaq without me having to drag it. I think that's there, right?
Yeah.
Like get paid on one and figure it out towards the end.
Let's see if Nasdaq can actually hold some juice on this.
When I did that, Brian, I don't know if yeah, and what would happen is
Operator says gas transit was unaffected after a reported attack on the Sudzha region in western Russia. So do bear in mind, earlier we did see Kirk's region governor noted that Ukraine did shell Sudzha town, which is the transshipping point for Russian gas transit to Europe by Ukraine. And at the time, the governor did not mention damages to gas infrastructure.
Nasdaq 620.
Nasdaq monster. Let's go.
We got 3 left on this.
Nice, Vic. Nice, nice, nice. Let's go. When I did that, Brian, like what would happen is like I'd take one out, but there would leave limits from the initial bracket, on. So it was like, you know, just press M on the DOM, Michael, the M button, and then go settings, I think,
There's
or
in the
orders.
615 here on the Nasdaq, you've got a lot of like negative delta. That's why it was one of the main targets here. Like if we can move up, okay, great. But like I've taken the majority of this off.
Yeah. Enable scale out, press M on the DOM, then confirmation, then support scale out.
The only
This
good trade I had.
That's good, bro. It took like a few losses on S&P. You came back, smashed it on Nasdaq. That's great. Yeah, that's how it's done, Vico.
Yeah, the S&P, I was honestly tempted to buy it into that like '09, and I was like, oh my god, S&P is gonna give me PTSD. Like, look, it comes in, it fails at that stupid 18 again. Let me take one more out. Oh. A lot of sellers are trying to come in on this NQ
Yep.
here. Let's see.
Yeah, I see it too. Think so. I think buyers take control of here from here.
If they
Like if
move
seller
22 on the spoos right now, like, I'm gonna be triggered.
And according to official stuff by Reuters, Biden is issuing an executive order on Friday formalizing White House supply chain level body. I'm looking out for any more details.
let's
Got two of these left.
celebrate.
So 630 is trading.
Nice.
%25 win rate. 1 win, 3 losses.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got 5 trades total on Nasdaq. I'm looking back to like well, one of them I took half of it off, and everything else is just stops. The last one was good. Doesn't matter like the distribution of the wins and losses, as long as you're participating on all your trades that fit your system.
I was tempted to just sell into this like 1918 on the spoos and just like leave it.
Walk away for
How
the
many
day.
times are they gonna freaking sell it though, damn? If I can do another 1,000-point day on these micros, it'd be great, but we'd have to have a big run on this. We need about 650 more points. Why didn't I long both ES and Nasdaq at the same time? Because ES is giving me PTSD. Nasdaq was at a better level for me. After like taking 3 losses on the S&P, I just like I get a little like hesitant, obviously, because like it seems like maybe I'm not reading this that correctly. Like, look on this on the MES, like I'm down 100 points, right? Like on these MNQs on NAS, I'm up like 350 right now, no matter what happens. So I've covered those losses in a bit. I've had some profits from the overnight, so I don't want to overextend it. Like 100-point down on like micros on S&P, it's kind of like capping my limit. I just had bad trades on the MES today. Like I was looking for that upside and I just like got caught out a little.
The upside
I'm like,
prevailed and they're winning. It's more
yeah,
like it's just a little early on the moves.
which is
That happens. You're
yeah,
not
so,
gonna time it perfectly from the first time, guys. It's just part of trading, honestly. Get used to it.
yeah, like the big issue was like I was kind of trading the same areas on ES and getting stopped out. So like that's a big no-no. Like you don't want to do that. If I get stopped once at the same level, like I should really, really watch and like readjust and make sure I'm doing it at like better regions. If you guys are long those spoos down there, great work. I got a little shaky.
Wanna run the full Vic?
What time is it actually? Yeah.
When things that are intense, you lose track of time. I noticed that. It's like, no,
Oh.
it's 11.
It was slow. Next thing you know, I have like a billion trades. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I didn't trade the spoos well today. That was a mistake. Very impatient.
Traded Nasdaq perfectly though, 1-on-1, and the trade that
What-
you got in is a 50-point winner.
Yeah.
And you gotta pay somehow.
Might even take like one more of these off here and then just leave one. To go to fill. Okay, it filled. I'll just leave one of these. Whatever happens, I walk away with about like over on the micros, which make these guys are failing to like break the range right now, but like how many times are you gonna test this range? I'm also long, so it's very hard for me. Like S&P still kind of sucks into these low 20s.
Okay, for let's close this poll out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I did not trade SPOOs well today at all.
Thank you for the numbers, Buxy. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Gonna do a wrap up on oil.
I do. So all markets basically sideways. We ran up. We really couldn't get much above that opening range high. Kind of peaked out about 9:45 or so. Since then, we've come back down to the VWAP. So trend traders, there is no trend, but the price action is below the trend lines. If you get a break of this VWAP to the downside, which is kind of looks like what it wants to do, then on the retrace you could get short, and you'll probably be on a trend short at that point. Whatever you do, monitor your risk, trade like a trade pro, and preserve that capital. Gentlemen, thank you for another great day, another great week. I hope you two and all of Trade Pro Academy has a great rest of today and a great weekend. We'll see everybody on Monday. Ciao.
Thank you, Buxy. Appreciate you, sir. 46% on the life positive. A little tougher today. We're expecting upside, and upside kind of came on late. And yeah, now they failed. It's just a big range today in today's session. That's what it seems like. We managed to get long, but it's like market can't push above that range high right now. And we're kind of like just a big range. Still have a piece of the long. We'll see how that like shapes up. But as of right now, I don't see too many trades. As Sahaj was like asking, like, doesn't that build the case for the short here? Yeah, I think you can try the short. It's just like I was leaning bullish coming into the day because the market says in all-time high areas, we kind of managed to push above the value area high on each session so far. So that's why we were leaning long in the first place. And if I am to trade it as a range, I want to sell, and you want to sell, I want to sell it close to the top as possible. And the top sits somewhere around the mid 40s, 50s. Right now, if you're looking for 23 to 28 to try to short into, you're dead smack in the point of control. So wait for it to extend a little bit or even touch these highs to initiate the short. Right now, this level, you can try it. It might work, might not. Then you get stopped and have to try it again higher. So it's hard to build, like, it's not hard to build the case for a short. It's just in that particular area on Nasdaq, I'm not a big fan considering the point of control and that the high it still has like about 20 points. And yeah, challenging day, part of the game. Vic managed to get the long Nasdaq. Sometimes that's all it takes. Like you get a couple of annoying trades that don't go your way, and then you get that one trade that washes all of that off. So yeah, part of the game. You learn, you reflect, you come back on Monday. And yeah, that's all I got. Back to you, Vic.
Yeah, I was a little stubborn with these SPOOs. Like I did like the longs, but my areas weren't good. After I got stopped the first time around that 18, I should have just like waited a bit longer, right? They're building up like all this momentum. We're trading again into these areas, and you're seeing they're catching a bid. This could be the start of a stronger bid into these regions. But yeah, I was stubborn with the areas. I was getting bad entries. So I took 3 losses on these SPOOs, right? Down about 100 points on the micros here, up over 400 here on the MNQ. So that makes up for just picking my spots very poorly, which I'll have to remind myself of when I do this review. A little stubborn with the levels. Let's see if we get something into the afternoon on today's session, but if we can't really like extend through these highs on both of these, it could just be a range day. Like you can see both C period close within the initial balance and D period is opening within the initial balance. Doesn't make for a great case right now for too much of an expansion on the day. It's a tougher initial balance that's shaping up here. So we'll see how it shapes up. But right now it's just range, and let's see this afternoon. So thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube for very interesting day, but I wanted to show you guys everything, right? Wins and losses. And We did okay, but we'll be back on Monday, stronger. And this is why I don't like to size up on Fridays, because maybe my decision making isn't the best. So enjoy the weekend, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on Monday.